All right, are we ready on Mr.? Oh, they're gonna bring him out and then we'll take up Mr. Lopez.
We have to do another HIPAA release that's specific. for health.
Okay,
We try.
We're almost there.
all right. Hey. Nothing, they would always say, nothing hurts a failure but a try. So it's gonna happen. Oh, yes, it is. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right, so the person who is on bond is Ugu. Ugu,
Yes.
you all are ready?
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, court is calling 2023 CR 7389, State of Texas versus Michael Ugu. Ugu. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Daniel Escobar for the state of Texas.
Defense?
Tony Hernandez on behalf of Mr. Ugu.
And are you Mr. Ugu?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you entered a plea of no contest to count one on January 22nd. According to the plea bargain agreement, punishments to be assessed at 6 years in the prison. The state is silent on your application and there's to be restitution to Timothy Clay. Have both parties had a chance to review the PSI report, state?
Yes, Judge.
Defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections to the PSI report, state?
No, Your Honor.
Defense?
Judge, not so much an objection, but a clarification. My understanding is that the pre-sentence investigation report indicates different amounts for, I guess, claimed restitution. I understand that, that the victim has been contacted earlier today and that issue has been clarified and that the restitution is about 4,000. Is that correct?
I guess, Judge, it's the 4,299 and 43 cents.
Wait, 4,000 and what?
299 and 43 cents. It's on page 4 of the PSI, Judge.
All right, so why do they have in here? My medical bills are about $30,000.
So, Judge, I talked with the complainant. There is a civil lawsuit that's currently pending against the taxi cab company, and I believe also the defendant is listed in that. I did tell the complainant that he would have an opportunity if he asked or if he needed more time to gather any documentation of restitution, that we would be able to give him that opportunity if I requested a restitution hearing. He decided that the amount that was listed to the PSI, that $4,000, was sufficient.
All right. All right.
That is correct. There is a pending civil lawsuit in which Mr. Ugu was sued as well as Greater San Antonio Transportation Company and a third corporation.
All right. Any witnesses?
We have two.
All right, if you'll call your first witness.
No, no, first witness is Mr. James Ugu. I'm sorry, Christian Ugu.
Further back.
All right, can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record. All right, defense?
Christian, you are Michael Ugu's brother, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you understand that we are here today asking the court to grant his application for community supervision or probation, is that right?
Yes, sir.
You had indicated to me that you wanted to address the court on his behalf. What is it that you believe the court should know about your brother prior to making a decision in this case?
I have known him since I was a teenager. So, and he seemed to be a very caring brother.
I'm sorry, sir. I need you to speak up just a little.
He seemed to be he seemed to be a very caring brother. Back in Nigeria and moved over to the United States. So he always checks up on everybody. When he got into this issue, he told me about it. I said, it doesn't seem like what he would do, but unfortunately, that's what is going on today. So I'm asking the court to please have a lenience on him. This is not something that since I know him, he's capable of doing, but today we're here.
Now, if the court were to order him to do grant his application for probation and order him to do certain things, classes, community supervision, whatever it is the court might think is appropriate, do you believe that Michael's the kind of person that can do those kind of things or follow directions?
Yes.
Do you believe that, well, if he was having any problems getting to the classes or doing what he needed to do as far as, would you be willing to assist him in that matter?
Yes, I am the one that did his bond also, so I will stand by him.
Okay, so you've been supporting him.
All right, so excuse me, just 1 second. When you speak, if you could not turn towards the defense because it's hard for the court reporter to hear because your voice is going that way.
Thank you.
So you've been assisting him throughout this process, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And is it your intention to continue to support your brother?
Yes, sir.
Now, what if he's doing something that you don't think is proper or this he was told by the court not to do? What would you do then?
I will encourage him to follow the instruction the court gave him, and I will urge that he will do that. But I don't think he will not follow the instruction by the court because he is not the type of person.
No.
Okay, I didn't understand the last part.
He's not the type of person that will not follow the instruction the court gave him. He always obey.
Okay.
Now, if he did do something that you thought was detrimental to either him or against the court order, would you be willing to reach out to his probation officer?
Definitely.
And why would you do that?
Because at the end of the day, if the probation officer will put him in check to make sure he follows the due process to his course of probation.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like the court to know on Michael's behalf?
Well, like I said earlier, just have mercy on him, and this is his first time. So someone have accused him of something like this. So maybe they can give me a chance. I believe in second chance in this life.
And to your knowledge, he's never had any felony offenses before, is that right?
No, this is the first trouble I will say he got into that I'm aware.
And to your knowledge, has he ever been in trouble in Nigeria?
No,
Thank you. Pass the witness, Your Honor.
thank you.
Any questions?
Something to say.
All right, thank you. Call your next witness.
Your Honor, it's James, and I'm gonna spell his last name. It's UKEJZ.
All right, could you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you give will be the truth, that nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, you can lower your hand. You're going to need to keep your voice up so the court reporter can hear. If the court reporter cannot hear, I definitely won't be able to hear it. Then your testimony will have been for naught. You understand? All right, state your name for the record.
Chidabere Okeja.
All right.
Would you spell that for the court reporter, please?
It's spelled UKEJE, and the Chidabere spelled CHIDIEBER.
And you go by James, is that correct?
Correct.
Now, James, you're you know Michael Hoover, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And how is it that you know Michael?
I can't describe him like a perfect human being to me
No, how long have you known him?
for 8 years.
8 years.
Yes, sir.
And did you meet him here or in Nigeria?
I met him remotely.
I'm sorry?
I met him here.
Okay.
All
And
right, let's do this. Move him over more towards Daniel so the court reporter can hear, please. And so that I can hear.
you've known him for more than 8 years, is that right?
Yes, sir.
You've had a chance to interact with him on a regular basis, is that right?
I met him every day, sir.
Every day.
Yes, sir.
And what kind of work do you do?
Currently, right now, I'm driving Uber.
And is that how you met Michael as a driver?
I met him through his brother.
Okay. You've had a chance to get to know Michael pretty well, is that right?
Yes, sir.
You understand that today we're asking the court to grant Michael's application for deferred adjudication or community supervision, is that right?
Yes, sir.
You had indicated that you wanted to address the court and let the court know what kind of person Michael is, the Michael that you know. What is it that you would like the court to know?
Pretty much over years I met him. He has been a nice, good friends to the brother. We used to play a lot every time, every day. Even the day of arrest, I was the one to pick up his car from the police station with his brother. So he's a nice man, so cool and calm. I never have any issues or quarrel with him over years.
When you found out what he was charged with, were you surprised by that?
I'm not surprised, and I told him I was asking how.
And is that kind of behavior unusual for Michael?
No, he never did. Never had a problem before.
Never had any problems before?
Never, no.
To your knowledge, since you've known him, has he had any problems with people before?
Not till I know of. So pretty much no.
And you're familiar that Michael's been driving taxis and Ubers and Lyfts for a while, is that right?
Yes, sir.
To your knowledge, has he had any problems with passengers in that respect?
Not till I know of, only this one.
Now, if Michael were to be granted community supervision and he had any issues of living up to his responsibilities, would you be willing to help him?
Yes, sir.
If he needed transportation someplace, would you be willing to assist him?
Yes, I do.
Okay, if there was any other thing that the court required him to do that Michael needed assistance with, would you be willing to assist him?
Yes, I do.
Do you think Michael is capable of following instructions from the court and doing what he's supposed to do?
Yes, sir.
Are you confident that he can be successful?
Yes, sir.
Do you have anything else you'd like to tell the judge?
Muchly, in a video, but I would like to send, if there's any way we can tap out justice of the mercy, just to give him a chance. I know he won't come back here again.
Thank you. Pass it when it's done.
Thank you so much.
Any questions?
No, Judge.
All right, thank you. Call your next witness.
Judge, Mr. Ugu wanted to address the court.
All right, come forward. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
You can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
My name is Michael
Last name?
Ugu.
All right, defense?
Mr. Ugu, you understand that the court is going to make a decision today on your application for deferred adjudication of community supervision. Is that right?
Yes,
You had indicated to me that you wanted to address the court prior to that decision. Is that right?
yes.
What is it that you want the judge to know before making a decision in this case?
Well, I want to ask the judge, tell the judge that since I've been in United States, I try to do anything that I know that is right to do. I try to do my job. I work 2 jobs, I work 3 jobs, and then I never try to do harm anybody, and I don't want to do that either. And if you can give me a chance, I do never want to come to this place anymore, not in my lifetime. I don't wish to come back here in my lifetime around this building.
All right, let's get to what happened.
Yes,
That's where I'm at.
thank you, Judge. On the night that this happened, do you recall the night that this incident happened?
The night that this incident happened, yes, I do.
Can you tell the judge what, from beginning to end, if you can, when you first got a call to go pick up these people, the victim, Timothy Clay, and I believe it was his mother, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. What was it like when you, just tell the court what happened when you picked them up? And where you picked them up from, if you recall?
I was waiting on the gas station where we used to pick up the PTI people, which is the people that drive the train. Those are the people that I usually pick up. I don't drive in the street. And I got a call. I thought it was the PTI. I clicked on it. And you can cancel it because you cancel it, there'll be a penalty for that. They take you out from the clock for 1 hour, you can walk. So I try to go pick the people. When I get there, the mom, I was waiting for them, they didn't come. I tried to leave. And I called the phone and tell them that I'm about to leave. They said for me to wait, that they are coming. And when I get there, I only have like 15 minutes to call them and start the clock. And I start the clock. Before they get there, it's already $3.50, which is the night shift. Because in the morning, it's $2.50. In the night, it's $3.50. And they said, why was the mirror $3.50? I said, I don't make the mirror. I don't have anything to do with the mirror. Mirror has been set by the company. And then the mother get inside the car and calling the son and never showed up. I was trying to tell the woman, if you can go ahead and leave so I can take the car and go back and stay so I don't lose my queue on the line. And the lady begged me, please, it's too cold. Let's have a patient for my son. And I waited there. When before the son is gonna come, the mirror is already $7 something. We got on the road, driving on the road. The mother said, man, I don't have the money to pay for this. It's already $10. I said, ma'am, I have no control how the meter go. Mine is to drive. So when I get to the place, I stop the car and the mother got off. They called the son, he was sleeping on the back of the chair, on the rear back.
The third row.
Third row. And then keep calling the name, the boy didn't wake up. He keep calling, the boy didn't wake up. And then when they tried to pay me, they said they don't have no money. I am not saying this being kind of a racist. I look at the black people like me. I called the taxi company. I said, these people didn't pay me. They say for me, call police. I look at it, why am I gonna call police from them now? And then I leave the mother stepped out and leave and start calling the boy. The boy is still there, sleeping. I said, please, can you get down so I can leave? And then I drove my car. And when she got off from the car, she hit it on the car, he hit on my car and spit all over me, and then walk away. I drove her back, and then I left. When I leave, when I was leaving, maybe the time he's hitting on me, I don't know if I hit him or not, but I can't tell you I didn't hit him. I can't tell you I hit him because the whole thing, it was like.
Oh, let's just stop right there. Have you seen the video?
No, what I'm saying is, I can't tell you if I hit him or not because the thing is, I was driving back, and then it was something. When you're driving on the drive-through, one is like the pavement when you're climbing down, and if I climb down that pavement, we hit the car because the taxi was not owned by me, it was owned by the company, and anything that happens to it, you have to pay for it. So
Let's slow down there and kind of get to the judge's point here. You said that you backed up and that you were concerned that backing up because I guess the difference in height between the street and the driveway would damage your vehicle.
Yes.
Okay, but you've seen the video in this case, right?
Yes.
And do you recall pulling forward first and then reversing?
Yeah, I moved forward.
Okay, now, did you, in the video, you saw, Mr. Clay there, is that right? You see him on the side of your vehicle, right?
Yes,
That night, though, did you see him there that night? You remember seeing him on the side of your vehicle that night when you pulled forward?
actually, if he, when he was on the front,
Yes,
I don't know if I can't really tell you exactly how all those things happen,
okay.
honestly, because this have been long time. I
Oh,
don't,
well, let me just stop you right there.
yes, yes.
Do you need to see the video? Because the video is in the steps. You want to
It is.
watch that with your attorney?
I think we've seen it enough, Judge, and if
Well, I mean, because he appears to be saying something that's different from what the court remembers in the video.
I don't believe he is, Judge. I think he's trying to tell the court that he did pull forward and that then he backed up and that.
Well, no,
he
he's
doesn't-
saying that the complainant's mother spit on him, hit
No,
on,
not
No, no,
complaint
no.
mother, no,
no, he spit on you
yeah,
and hit you.
yes,
All right, is that in the video?
you know, it did,
What?
oh, sorry.
Judge, the video is a doorbell cam from across the street that only catches certain things. It doesn't, it's not the vehicle's video. Although it had it, the video did have I'm sorry, the vehicle was equipped with a video, but evidently something the taxi company says they can't find it, Judge. The video isn't, that the courts, that's in the evidence, Judge, is just a brief few, I think it's about actually maybe 12, 15 seconds of the activity. It's not the entire video. In fact, you don't even see the mother who got out, I think, a considerable amount of time before that. You don't even see her getting out. I think all you see is Mr. Clay on the side, and then you see Mr. Clay, it looks like he's crouched down or something, standing up. And then at that point, Mr. Hugo is backing up again, and Mr. Clay is walking up to the house. It's just a very few seconds.
Okay.
A few seconds, just so.
All right,
I
you can
believe
ask
what-
more questions.
I'm sorry?
I said you can ask more questions.
Thank you, Duke. So you're not denying that you may have hit him, is that right? You don't tell the court you don't recall.
I don't recall, I not,
Okay. But either way, as a driver, you understand that you have an obligation to be on the lookout for people on both sides of your vehicle, is that right?
of course.
Okay, and if you did hit him, then you didn't live up to that obligation, fair to say?
If I hit him, I didn't do it on purposes. I don't mean to hit him. I don't wanna hit nobody.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Good. That's what I wanted to clarify for the court. Now, if the court is to give you an opportunity on your probation on deferred adjudication of community supervision, are you willing to do whatever the court asks you to do?
Yes, sir.
Do you think that you can be successful on community supervision or probation?
100%.
And as far as your criminal history, this is your only felony, is that correct?
Yes,
And I think the PSI indicates that there were 2 other cases you had misdemeanors that were either dismissed or rejected in some way, is that correct?
yes,
And that you don't have any criminal history in Nigeria, do you?
no,
Your work history, the PSI indicates that you were working from 2005 to 2016 for the same company, Baptist Health System, is that right?
yes,
Okay, were you steadily employed with that company?
yes, I was, but I'm not working with them.
No, I understand. And since that time, I think you told the court earlier, you've been working 2 and 3 jobs at a time, is that right?
Yes,
Why are you working 2 or 3 jobs at a time?
to support my wife to go to nursing school
Okay. And your family, your kids,
and my children.
and the 2 of you are actually separated at this point, is that right?
Yes,
And I think that's indicated in the PSI also. The PSI also indicates that you don't have any drug or alcohol issues. Do you use drugs or drink at all?
I don't smoke, I don't drink.
And do you believe that you can be successful if given an opportunity on community supervision?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Could pass that witness, Judge.
Any questions?
Just a couple, Judge. Really briefly, Mr. Wu, would it surprise you that in the PSI, you never once mentioned that the complainant struck you?
I told the lady,
Yeah, have you had a chance to review the PSI?
no, I told the lady exactly, she asked me.
Now, the question is, have you had a chance to review the PSI?
Mm,
Would you like a chance?
Just Mr. Uga's reading level is evidently rather low according to the CSR. I'm sorry.
didn't understand you.
Judge, Mr. Uga's reading level is rather low according to the precedents
All right.
report. It's around level 1, but I will tell the court that I read him that entire document.
All right. Do you need your attorney to reread to you that report?
He read it to me.
My question is, do you need him to reread it to you?
No, ma'am.
All right. And when you say his reading level is at a certain point, that's the English language, correct?
It didn't specify, Judge. His education level is also very low.
Mhm.
And I think it's not as low as his reading level. But it would be, I would assume it's English, yes.
All right, then you can ask your questions.
The only other thing I'll ask Judge, would the court be able to play the disc?
Right. I tell you what, this is what I'll do. I am going to let you all sit back so that he can rewatch the video. And it's a video from the vehicle that night,
It's a video from the doorbell.
from the doorbell. Yes.
Bring camera, Judge.
All right. So if you all step back and watch that, and if you will talk to him about his PSI report.
Yes, Judge.
Okay,
I
thank
can do that.
So that's the PSI report. So that's what probation prepares, and those are stipulations. That's what he agreed to was true. All right, are you already on? Oh, this is supposed to go to Judge Navarro. Albert Guzman? Oh, that's a dismissal. Pete Castillo? Anthony Maciel? And Dinah, this is a plea. Probation, this is a plea. Court is calling 2023 CR 7209, State of Texas versus Anthony Ralph Maciel. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state? Defense?
Hector Garza Jr.
And are you Anthony Raphael Maciel?
Yes.
Counsel, have you received all the discovery? Did you review it with your client?
We have.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Mr. Maciel, did you review the document entitled True Bill of Indictment with your attorney?
Yes.
Did you understand it?
Yes,
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
we do.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
We are, Your Honor.
Are there any applications in this case?
No,
All right, probation, there are no applications. Mr. Maciel, you're charged with the offense of theft under $2,500 enhanced. That's a state jail felony. Range of punishment is anywhere from 180 days up to 2 years in the state jail facility and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
yes,
If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court doesn't follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
yes,
Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call and the right to remain silent?
yes,
Did you understand by entering this plea, you were giving up those rights?
yes,
Did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case?
yes,
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
yes.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
I do.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
I feel that he is.
Mr. Maciel, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter the plea?
No,
Anyone promised you anything other than the plea?
No.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
yes,
Are you a U.S. citizen?
yes,
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial, showing you the plea bargain page. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it?
yes,
According to the plea, punishment is to be assessed at 10 months in the state jail facility, and there are no applications. Did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes,
Defense?
Yes.
State?
it is, Your Honor.
Showing you the waiver of repeal paragraph. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in both places?
Yes,
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
yes,
Counsel, have there been any, I'm sorry, that's the wrong sheet, Jason. Counsel, have there been any such motions?
none.
Then to the offenses charged, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest? State any evidence to support the plea?
State exhibit number 1 with all attachments.
No objections.
All right, state you may continue to confer.
Thank you.
Showing you what's entitled waiving consent to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Did you review that document with your attorney?
Yes.
Did you understand it?
Yes,
Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
yes,
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call, and the right to remain silent?
yes,
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports? You're welcome. But wrong one, sorry. Is it Jose Lozano? Okay, but most importantly, there will be no live testimony. Did you understand?
yes,
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments, and the court will review the same. All right, after reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there's sufficient evidence to find you guilty, and the court will find you guilty. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
Yes.
Anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
Nothing.
All right, Mr. Maciel, is there anything you wish to say?
no.
Why are you continuing to steal?
What's
What's going on in your life?
that this last time was like, I was in a desperate situation and I didn't know what else to do, so I tried it one more time and
Well, I mean,
it didn't work for me.
but here's the thing, this is enhanced, and you know what that means? That means that you've stolen before.
Mhm.
So what is it, a drug problem, or you just like to steal?
No, it used to be a drug problem, but I don't do drugs no more. And
So do you have a support system?
yes,
Who's your support system?
my brother, my sister, and my mom.
Okay. All right. As previously stated, I'm gonna find you guilty. I'm gonna sentence you to 10 months in the state jail facility. I'm gonna give you credit for any time served. I'm gonna request the therapeutic community for you. The therapeutic community does not increase the time that you're in custody, but hopefully it will help you get your life in order so you don't come back here. You understand?
Yes,
Going to show you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you sign it?
yes,
Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. You understand?
yes,
All right, we're going to go off the record. If you come back here again for theft case, you're going to potentially be listed as a habitual. And on some cases, that means that you're looking at up to 20 years in prison and not the state jail felony time. How old are you?
46.
All right. You're 46. At some time, you're going to be on the other side of your life. If you don't want to spend your life constantly in and out of somebody's jail or out of somebody's prison, you're going to have to change your ways. If you have a drug or alcohol problem, they have places that can help you, but they can't help you if you don't want to be helped. You understand?
Yes.
All right. Good luck to you. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But Judge, I just wanted to make sure that this got back with the state.
All right. Thank you.
I think Mr. Hernandez is fine. Skip that side.
Okay.
No, I just resend it.
All right, and that one's been dismissed. Who's here on Ruben Renteria?
I'm here for, Mr. Big Judge. And I approach.
Yes. And Norma, can you call the state down? That's family violence case. All right, what are we here for with Mr. Ruben Renteria?
Mr. LaHood had asked that I come over and confer with state, confer with his client. I was under the impression this was maybe a first setting or second setting judge.
Mhm.
Mr. LaHood had asked that I get an offer from the state. After having conferred with his client, given he has two cases over two different offense dates, I had made some suggestions that I would like Mr. LaHood's client to do before I approach the state and ask for an offer. And I think it would be in his best interest to do that. So the judge would maybe even give us some time for him to do that. So that he can present that to the state.
How long is that going to take?
You give him 30 days, Judge, to knock out as much as he can. I know he can accomplish at least half of what I'm asking him to do.
Okay. Ms. Ferguson?
He's very motivated, Judge, to do what I'm asking him.
All right, Ms. Ferguson on Renteria, recall it in 30 days.
Thank you so much, Judge. I
Sure.
appreciate your consideration.
Yes. All right, it's going to come back on April 22nd.
You need any signatures? Yeah.
Jacob Moya? All right, where are we on this case?
Your Honor, this is second setting on the Berg vehicle case. There is just, I believe, a few days ago was a credit card abuse case that was indicted. We haven't really had much chance to dig into that one, but we do not currently have an agreement.
All right, so you don't have the discovery yet?
I believe that I believe we have the discovery. Yes, sir.
All right, Norma, what date do you want to set this for? 22nd? All right, you're going to come back on April 22nd.
Is that for Charles? Or?
I'm not in charge of that. But I don't think he'll be brought over jurist. And we will only have one jury for that day. Are y'all ready on Adolph Lopez?
Somewhat, Judge.
Okay, where are we on Mr. Lopez?
I spoke with Center for Healthcare Services. I did send them a HIPAA release. They cannot print records for us, but I spoke with the nurse over there and she was able to use records. So Mr. Lopez takes two medications. He takes Zoloft and he takes Prozac. Right?
So is he compliant and does he have a plan?
So it's I would characterize it as partial compliance. They just got him ordered on the 15th. For the first 2 days, he took both meds. For the first 3 days, and then the following 2 days, he took one and not the other. Yesterday, he did not take his meds. I'm sure there's some anxiety about coming to court, but I think we can all observe that he's in a much better spot than he was in before. What I would propose to the court is if we could give him a short reset. Next week, I've got drug court training, maybe that
Okay,
Tuesday right after Easter, and if he takes his meds for all those days,
okay.
perhaps we could go forward.
All right, Mr. Lopez, come down for me. All right, Mr. Lopez, I'm not a doctor, right?
It's not.
But here's the thing. They've decided what medications you need to be on. I always tell people if those medications cause side effects to let somebody know. But what I'm being told is at the jail, you're not 100% compliant. With the regards to the agreement that you've reached to the state, If the next setting you come back and you're 100% compliant, I'll follow the agreement that they reached. You understand? So if you're not compliant, then don't expect me to follow the agreement. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So whether the agreement that you reached is going to be followed or not is 100% on you. You understand?
Yes.
Is there anything you do not understand?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So when do you want this recall? Do you want it next week?
If we could do, I'm out for drug court training, Judge, if we could do April 2nd.
Okay. So we're going to come back on April 2nd. April 2nd, if you're 100% compliant, then I'm going to follow their agreement. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So we'll recall it. Norma, recall Mr. Lopez back for April 2nd. And Mr. Lopez, let me just tell you why I'm not following their agreement just yet. It's because I don't like to pass off problems to other people. Not that as a human being, you're a problem, but I want to make sure that when I sentence somebody or something happens, it's not going to be visited on somebody else because I didn't do my part. So I'm trying to make sure you have all the tools so that you can be healthy and I won't see you back here again. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So we're going to come back on April 2nd. As they say, if God willing and the creek don't rise, I will be here. And if you've done everything that I've asked of you and that they're asking of you, I'll follow your agreement. All right?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that a fair deal?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We're going to bring you back on April 2nd. Okay?
Thank you, Judge.
All right. Thank you. Oh, but for that dismissal I signed. Yes. Because that's their case.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Pete Castillo? Who's here on Pete Castillo?
Hold on. Judge, that's the one with me, that I told you I entered the wrong date.
Oh, okay. Thank you. No, you didn't enter the wrong date. It was correct because I wrote in here, it was supposed to come back on the 21st. Oh, you put it on the 26th. Okay. Deputy Laura P. Castillo's come back on the 26th. So the people we have left from page 1 is Simmons. Can I see the file on Robert Montez, please? There you go. And then, let me see. Could you give me the remainder of the files we have left, please? Thank you. All right, who's the attorney on Priscilla Batistas?
Judge, that's what we're talking about. Toshi. He asked for me to bring his client today. It wasn't on the docket for today. I just added her on it. But he did not know he was scheduled for somewhere else. That's what Stacy told him.
All right, recall this and recall it for,
He said he would call it to the 26th.
all right, so this is the thing. We're not going to be accepting requests for attorneys when they don't show up. So we will do it on the 26th. He needs to be here and he needs to be here at 9 a.m. All right, who is Gilbert Perez? Is Gilbert Pettis even on the docket today? It is set for today. All right. Norma, if you want to call the attorney and ask them why they asked for this to be placed on the docket. All right, so all we have left is Mr. Simmons and Mr. Ugo. Ugo, I keep saying,
The attorneys for Simmons, they're talking to him just in the little room.
okay. And then are you all ready?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and can I see those reports, please? Thank you. All right, we're gonna go back on the record. And 2023 CR 7389, Michael Ugu. Could I have parties re-announced for the state
Daniel Escobar for the state of Texas.
defense?
Only as long as it happens.
All right, and did you have a chance to review everything, Mr. Ugu?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, state, you may continue with your questions.
So, Mr. Wu, so you saw the video right during the clip, is that correct?
Yes,
And you saw from at least the video that it was a well-lit area, is that correct?
yes,
You also saw that you turned right into the driveway, is that correct?
yes,
But then once you make contact with the complainant, you reversed, went back to your original position and then turned left, is that correct?
yes, I turned because I wanted to take off from the same way that I came.
Right, but again, my point is that you had the ability to turn left from the beginning, is that correct?
No, I can't turn left because I didn't come that way.
I know, but what I'm saying is if you're doing a U-turn, start your turn by going right. In the video, you reverse, go back to your original spot, then you turn left and do a U-turn, right?
I went in, then I went out, back off to turn out, to go the same way.
It's okay, sir. The video shows what it shows.
Okay.
Pass the witness.
Any other questions?
No, Your Honor, I'm sorry.
All right. I'll hear argument.
Judges say to sound, so.
No, I mean, yes, thank you.
Judge, Mr. Ugu is 46 years old. He has no prior felony criminal history and his only misdemeanor history has been dismissed. We specifically asked in this, when we pled on this particular case, we specifically asked for the inclusion of the word reckless in the indictment that Mr. Ugu pled no contest to, Judge, and we did that for a specific reason. Mr. Ugu has testified that he did not see him, Mr. Clay there, and that he did not intentionally hit Mr. Clay. And that is true. Mr. Ugu understands, though, that as a driver of a vehicle, he has an obligation to be on the lookout for individuals. And in this particular case, he understands that he was at least reckless in that regard. He's not trying to, he reported some things, he testified to some things that happened prior to this video. And that he indicated that he told the probation officer that was doing this report. They're not included in there, and I don't think Mr. Ugu is looking to in any way deny responsibility or shove responsibility onto Mr. Clay for those actions because he knows that that wasn't related to the particular driving facts. It's just his recollection of what happened that night. This video that we see, and it's part of the evidence, was very challenging to obtain. And for some reason, the officers that obtained this particular video didn't get any more than what they actually obtained. I would imagine that there would have been much more to that particular video or subsequent video, since when everybody agrees that the mother gets out of the van, you never see the mother in that video anywhere. So we know that there's just a small snippet of what happened that night. We did the best we could to get the actual videos from the vehicle, because taxis have, and his particular taxi did in fact have videos, but that evidently was lost with the taxi company. And being that there's a civil claim pending, it's not surprising, Judge. But in regards to Mr. Ugo, Judge, he has no prior criminal history. He is an American citizen. He's a naturalized citizen. It appears from everything is set out in this report that he would be a good candidate for probation. He's got a steady work history. He had the same employer from 2005 to 2016. Since that time and up until the time that he was arrested on this case, he was working 2 and 3 different jobs. He's been a CNA for years. He is certified as a CNA. He lost that job when he got indicted on this case. He's been working, trying to drive for different companies. I'm not sure if the court understood what he was talking about with the railroad, but what happens is there was a contract with the railroad that he was a driver for the engineers and such that work on the railroad. And so that's a specific little unique area that he was working in. So, you know, Judge, he's accepting responsibility. He doesn't remember everything that happened and didn't necessarily see Mr. Clay there, but he's not trying to deny that he was reckless about not looking out for that Mr. Clay. So I think that is clear, Judge. So he is accepting responsibility in that sense. The PSI indicates that he's got some health problems, some heart problems, some high blood pressure. He was in the hospital for a couple of weeks. He's, interestingly, Judge, on the goal section of that particular report indicates that he wants to be a good father, and he wants to learn also the ways of this particular country. So he's got aspirations of getting better, Judge, of being a better person. And he didn't in that PSI interview, he didn't say, poor me, I want to be free. He says, I want to be a better father. I want to learn to be a better father. I want to learn the customs and such of this particular country that he's naturalized into and he's made his home. So I think that's important, Judge, and I think that's reflective of the kind of person that Mr. Ugu is. He has family support. His brother's here. His representing his family. His parents are back in Nigeria. His friend took off work today, came to support him. So he does have a stable history support system, Judge. We believe, Judge, that he would be a very good candidate for deferred adjudication, and I don't think that you'll ever see him before this court again, Judge.
Okay, so here are my questions. It appears, and I want both parties to correct me if I'm wrong. What appears to have happened is you have 2 complainants. Both of them are intoxicated, according to the police report. There's some issue about the fare to be paid for the service of driving them from one location to the other location. What has been cleared up for the court is that he was waiting for them and the meter was running as he was waiting. It appears that the complainants were upset that the meter is running and they're not in the vehicle. And then they go to the location. There is some discussion about money. The complainants say he wanted his money up front as opposed to when they were dropped to the location. Guess there's some discrepancy in that because he's testifying no. Then the complainant's mother leaves the vehicle, goes to the house, and then the second complainant gets hit by the vehicle. The complainants then called the taxi service first, as opposed to calling the police. And then then they call the police, but they don't want the sirens or anything else of that nature. Is that the scenario? Am I missing something here?
To fill in a couple, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I don't believe so, Judge.
All right.
A
So-
little few tidbits, Judge. Mr. Ugo was contacted by the taxi company and told that there was a bag that was left in the back of his cab. He looked in his back of his cab, he found it, he took it to the taxi company. So I don't know if that's what they were calling about or not, but I know that Mr. Ugo from the beginning has told me that the taxi company called him. There was a bag, he found it, shoved it between the third row at the back, and he took it back to the taxi company. And he told the taxi company what had happened, and he wasn't paid at all. From my understanding was that when they arrived at the house, they had like $5 to pay for the taxi cab, and Mr. Ugo didn't accept it.
Okay. Anything else, State? I know you're silent, but anything else to the facts that defense counsel has given to the court?
I think Judge, no real facts added as to the bag. I know that the complainant indicated that they attempted to get the bag back. They attempted to call the company later. I would say the only facts is I know it's a little bit confusing. My understanding is that one of the family members walked to a gas station to report it, while others were at the home reporting it. That's the only other thing that I think that.
We've never heard that. I'm not just disputing that. I didn't ever see that in the discovery.
Okay. All right. This is what the court is going to do. I know the complainant doesn't want you to have probation. They think you should be in prison. But my job is to make the decisions with the information that I have and to look at it objectively. And sometimes if you're the complainant and involved in a situation, you can't look at it objective. That's why you're not on the jury. What is the issue? We covered the issue with regards to restitution. Other than that $2,000, there's no other restitution?
I believe it's 4,200.
Okay, 4,299 or something?
There's three different numbers.
Oh, it's $4,299.43. And is that the only restitution?
Again, the complainant indicated that he had other bills. I gave him the opportunity if he wanted me to ask for restitution hearing. He said that number was fine. That was the number that he was okay with us going with.
All right. All right, the court will sentence you to 8 years deferred adjudication. There's to be restitution in the amount of $4,299.43 to Timothy Clay. There's to be no contact with Timothy Clay. And what do you do for a living now?
I work in Bristol here. I just started,
Respite care.
No, he started last week with Rescare, RESCARE. It's took me a while to figure it out, but Judge, what it is, the company that provides drivers for people that live in group homes, private group homes. It's like a assisted living facility, except it's in a private home. And his job is to transport them to doctor's appointments, transport them to grocery store, wherever they need to go. And then he stays at the facility and administers. He doesn't administer medication. He watches the people take the medication that they're supposed to take to make sure that they're taking what they're supposed to take when they're supposed to take it. And then he locks the medicine up. He doesn't evidently, I think he hands them the bottle, but they do everything else. And then they hand him back the bottle. And he puts
Wait,
it in
who
the-
does he hand the bottle to?
The residents there, they're assisted living. They're not incapable. They're just
it's,
They're okay, they can,
Yeah.
they can
They're
take
mentally
their
competent.
medicine, they cook their food, I will make sure they didn't take overdose. If I give them the medicine, I will read the bottle and see if the doctor tell them take one in the morning, I'll make sure they take one, they didn't take two. And then I'll write it on the paper, make sure that that is two. I put it on the counter and lock it up.
It's,
So Rest Care doesn't have a nurse for this. People are just taking shortcuts all over the place, aren't they?
yes, Judge.
Ms. Abrams? Should he be working at this Rest Care handing out medication? I don't even know if that's legal to do. Here's the thing, I don't even know if that's legal for him to do that.
We get trained over there. They train us how to give those things. and
What, a
make-
one-day training?
Yes, and they will tell us if they don't wanna take it, they say no, just get it from them, put it on the counter and lock it back. And then the medicine and themselves, they can request it, they know the time to take it. They know all their medicine, they cook.
So
their food.
here's the thing. I don't know what's happening at Rest Care, but I know that shouldn't be happening. And you just told me that his reading level is not such where you had to read the
That's-
PSI report for him,
Yes.
and yet they have him passing out medication?
It's worse than that, Judge. They're paying $9 an hour.
Oh, well, Rest Care. He's not allowed to pass out medications at Rest Care. He can drive, but he's not allowed to pass out medications.
I don't pass it. I give it,
Oh, you're not allowed to give them
I
medication.
can't give it to them. They know their medicine, all of them.
Yeah.
They are aware.
No, this is what I want you to understand.
Yes.
I'm not going to allow you to do that. I can't believe Rest Care is allowing that. Rest Care should have somebody there who's actually either a licensed nurse to do that. I mean, otherwise,
That's the way all of.
some people have a need, I'm not going to say this, but I have relatives who are not even out of high school. Do they want to hire them and pay them $9 to look at a bottle of medication and say, oh, here's your medication, and then I'll lock it up if you don't take it? I don't know what's happening with Rest Care. I don't know what's happening with people who run home healthcare providers. I guess some people don't care what's happening at places where people are vulnerable, but I'm not going to allow him to do that part of the job. As far as transporting, I don't even know if he should be driving. What's happened with regards to his license with this incident?
His license is fine, but it wasn't affected by it.
All right.
He just can't find work
Well,
as a driver.
I mean, you're gonna have to find something else. There's McDonald's, there's Chick-fil-A, there's Whataburger, there's Bill Miller's. You're gonna have to work somewhere else. And they'll pay you more than $9 an hour. I think McDonald's is paying more. So you can't work at a home healthcare provider. I don't allow people who are on probation in my court to work as a home healthcare provider or work with minors. All right, 8 years deferred adjudication, restitution in the amount of $4,299.43 to Timothy Clay. No contact with Timothy Clay. Proof of employment within 30 days. There's to be no employment as a home healthcare provider or with minors. And probation, his handing out medications to people, I consider that is being a home healthcare provider, and he's not allowed to do it. There's to be regular reporting by Zoom or in person. There's to be regular UAs, 200 hours of community service restitution. How many children do you have? What are their ages?
I have a 23. I have a 12. I have 14. And then I have a 12, 23, and 16, and then Destiny 14.
All right. I'm going to ask for 200 hours community service restitution. He's going to do parenting classes. Once he completes that, the restitution hours will be deemed satisfied. He's going to take anger management and defensive driving. And there'll be a field visit one time per month for 3 months. And then at discretion. Probation, is there anything else he needs? Is there anything else you need from the court to be successful?
No,
All right, I'm showing you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you sign it?
yes, yes,
All right, because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand?
yes,
All right, we can go off the record. In this court, communication is key. If there's something that you don't understand, just let us know so that we can communicate appropriately. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right, good luck to you.
Thank you. Just maybe, excuse.
Yes. All right, whenever you all are ready on Mr. Simmons, let me know.
And I should let you know.
Oh, can you mute us? person in the waiting room?
Judge, that's the complainant in this case to do victim impact.
Okay. All right, are both sides ready?
Yes, Judge.
All right, court is calling 2023 CR 7730, State of Texas versus Jamaria Simmons. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state? Defense,
Charles Duncan, Lindsay Shaw, Mr. Simmons.
are you Mr. Simmons?
Yes, ma'am, Your Honor.
All right, you entered a plea of no contest on January 22nd. The court ordered a TAP evaluation and a PSI. Have both parties had a chance to review the PSI report? State,
Yes, Your Honor.
defense?
We have, Judge.
Any objections? State,
No, Your Honor.
defense?
No objections. There are a couple of corrections that we'd like to make.
Yes, you may.
For
proceed.
example, on page 1, it lists him as having two defendants. He only has one.
Okay, just one moment.
Some minor things.
Okay, let me pull up the PSI report. Here it is. It's towards the bottom. All right, so page 1.
On page 1, Judge, yes, it lists him as having two dependents, and that's actually incorrect. He has one.
Okay,
So I just wanted, that's just a correction to make, not really an objection, but more of a correction.
all right. All right, any other corrections?
No, that was the one thing we wanted to point out as far as, we believe that's relevant, so we pointed that out. We wanted to point that out.
All right, according to the plea bargain agreement, punishment is to be assessed at 8 years in the prison, and the state is opposing your application. And this is to run concurrent with 2020 CR 2196, but I think that motion was withdrawn. Let me see. Okay. All right, state you're opposed. Do you have any witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
Defense, any witnesses?
Yes, Judge.
All right, call your first witness. All
I'll call April Simmons.
right, April Simmons. All right, can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand. Make sure you keep your voice up so that the court reporter can hear and I can hear. All right, state your name for the record.
April Simmons,
All right, defense.
Ms. Simmons, how are you related to my client, Jamaria Simmons?
I'm his mother.
Ms. Simmons, you understand that today we're here before the Honorable Stephanie Boyd, and she's going to make a decision, a very important decision in your son's life. You understand that, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you may have heard me say that one of the things we wanted to point out to the judge was that the correction in the number of dependents that your son has. When I say dependents, I'm talking about how many children he has. And how many children does he have?
One.
And since this and today we're specifically talking about the offense that happened back in the parking lot the night that his car was, when his car was being tampered with. Do you remember that night?
Yes.
Okay, and that was the night he was shot, the second time he was shot.
Yes.
Okay. And one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about, and one of the things that we're asking the judge to consider when she makes this decision, and one of the things to look at is some of the things that have changed in his life since that night. And one of the big changes in his life has been the role
Of his son.
with his son. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, how old is his son?
Truth is 4.
4, okay? And the change that the big change in his life is now, as I understand it, your son has 100% custody of his son. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And that's through the courts. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
He went to court and the biological mother decided to completely absent herself from her son's life.
Yes.
And when I say absent herself, it's to such an extent that the court granted her the ability to visit her son through a
like a kid share program. And up to this day, she's never, ever even made an effort to even take the court up on an opportunity to visit her son. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And has the opportunity for him to become a full-time father, have you seen that help foster a change in your son that you had not seen prior to?
Yes.
Can you tell the judge a little bit about that?
Well, since he had his son, to be honest, since his son was born, he really always had his son. He's always been in the home with my son, Jamaria. So it's never been a day that he haven't had his son. So
Okay.
he's really an excellent father. And his son really loves him. And like I say, his son been with him since he was born.
And you understand that one of the things we're asking the judge today is to consider an application for what's called deferred adjudication.
Yes.
And we are not here today asking the judge to overlook our role, or when I say our role, I mean your son's role and what happened that night. What happened that night was terrible.
Yes.
You know, he did something he shouldn't have done, and we're certainly not asking the judge or making any excuses for your son's behavior. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you and I have been through the police report together. We've read the victim impact statement.
Yes.
We know the effect that this had on this poor woman. Is that correct?
Yes.
But since that night, have you seen some changes in your son and an opportunity to perhaps help push him in the right direction? And you know, he had been doing well except for that, you know, 1 minute.
That night, I'm not making excuses for him. I really don't know what came over him to do that, because I didn't raise him like that. And like the only thing I can say is like a lot of this, he's been through a lot from the part of me losing my son in 2016. He wasn't a part of that. Him and my other son wasn't a part of none of that. So it's like a lot of stuff that didn't happen in my family, which is with my children, that they were never a part of. So I feel like he's going through like depression, or he like, I don't know, like just something that he's going through that he might need help with. But it's a lot that occurred in our life. Like I say, losing my son.
Tell us a little bit about that. And I hate to ask you to, but
Well, I lost my son March 6, 2016. Two of my sons was in the car. My other son survived, but it was where my son was going to give a friend a ride, and they end up getting ambushed, and my son ended up getting killed. And then with all of that, like, they wasn't a part of the funeral. They wasn't part of none of that. Then after that, we lost my baby sister to breast cancer, and they wasn't really a part of that. And then with my mom, she was going through breast cancer, but thank God that she beat it a few months ago. But it's just a lot that I endure, and my kids is really like all I have. You know, I'm a single parent. I have 9 children. My baby boy, he's in college. Thank God for that. My last 2 baby girls, you know, they in sports. They got accepted to a lot of stuff. So, and then he's a good supporter when it comes to being at their games and stuff like that. So he's one of the big helps in my life too, also.
now, and on this particular night, we know that he was shot, but he had been shot about 4 or 5 months prior to that night. Is that correct as well?
Yes.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell the judge, or anything you think she should know? Because I mean, she's going to make a very, very important decision, not only in his life, but in his son's life today, right now. Anything else you'd like her to know or to tell her about your son?
I just would like to say, like, the person he was that night, that's not him. Like, Shamari is really a loving, happy, sweet person. Like I said, it's always been me and my kids, and we stick together. He's a great father, And we just do a lot of stuff together. And I don't want him to miss out on nothing else that treat in the future with, us being a family.
If the judge was to grant him the opportunity to be on deferred adjudication, would you do whatever you could to help him
Yeah,
be successful? And
I'm with my kids 100% every time they need.
that's all I have. No more questions. The state,
questions?
Mr. Escobar may have some questions for you.
Ms. Simmons, first, I want to say I'm sorry for your loss. I only have a couple questions. Does does he own a gun?
No.
And who's Chadai Hall? Chadi Hall? Do you recognize that name?
Who?
Chadai Hall, and here I'm showing you.
Oh, that's his brother.
Okay. Nothing but mistake.
Okay, that's all I have, Judge.
All right, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
All right, your next witness.
Mr. Simmons.
All right. Before Mr. Simmons testifies, has Mr. Simmons done a drug test today?
Today, no. Would you like him to?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Ms. Abrams, are we able to get a drug test today from Mr. Simmons? All right, so we're gonna do a drug test today. All right.
Okay.
And this is that one.
Sweetie, thank you.
Sure. Norma, is somebody from Family Violence on the way down?
In about 15 minutes, sir.
Okay.
Upstairs pre-trial.
Ah, okay.
But I need one sit, I need two dozen donuts. Do you need 2 dozen donuts? Does? For like, honestly, it sounds like, it's like a bar, like a fry.
Negative? Okay, awesome.
That might be, that might be right. That might be more meetings, but I think I could do 2 dozen. When I was at my old DA's office, when I first started, I was in a very small county. Yeah. And we did shit like that. Yeah. All the time. Yeah. We would sit around at lunch, come up with the stupidest, like. We had a girl, and she was the chief of juvenile.
All right, so we're back on the record.
Oh.
Oh, no problem. Oh, come forward.
Okay. Oh.
All right, so probation tells me it's negative. That's a good thing. All right, so continue with your question.
Well, thank you, Judge. Okay.
Ready?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Simmons, as you know, that today we're here asking the judge to consider our application for deferred adjudication for the offense you pled to. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So, earlier, before we took a break, your mom had testified and answered some questions about your son. So first, before we talk about that, I kind of want to go over, you know, obviously, one of the things the judge has to consider is, is what happened that night, right? And, the judge has the stipulated evidence from the police. When I say stipulated evidence, I mean the police report that talks about your conduct on that night. And she also has the PSI that discusses the meeting you had with the probation department or the PSI officer about that night. And it starts with the fact that, the way this incident started is you're confronted with an individual or two individuals with a gun trying, pulling on the door handle of your car. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then unfortunately that turns into this encounter you had with the woman that ends up the victim of the aggravated assault. Is that correct as well? Okay. And as I discussed with your mom, and as you and I have talked about many, many times, we're certainly not here today to minimize your role in what happened in the aftermath of what happened. Is that also correct?
Yes, sir.
And you understand that what happened was certainly terrible.
Yes, sir.
And should have never happened.
Yes, sir.
However, we also, when when anybody has to look at a situation like that and determine what do you do with someone who's been a part of involved in any situation, you've got to look at how it started, how it ended, but also look at the person in total.
Yes, sir.
Which is you, correct? And so she has to look. And one of the things, obviously, one of the things the judge wanted to know right off the bat was, well, let's look at you right now. I mean, she wanted to know right now, are you using drugs? So the first thing she said was, you know what? Let's just cut the rubbish. Let's see right now, are you clean? And you showed her right off the jump, absolutely, I'm not using drugs. I'm clean. And you proved to her, right off the jump, you're not using drugs. You're clean. And I know that she's going to have a concern, for example, about guns. We know from the PSI that your position is and has always been the gun you had that night you took from the man who was using the gun as he tried to get into your car. And she may be concerned, well, how do we know you didn't have a gun? And we know from the fact that there were multiple home visits done. This court is very proud of the fact that she keeps a good eye on her probationers by what's called home visits. Are you familiar with home visits?
Yes, sir.
And you have had home visits done, I believe, multiple times throughout your probation. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Twice a month.
Okay. And when they do home visits, they literally come into your home and check it out, don't they?
Yes, sir.
And one of the things they're looking for are things you're not supposed to have, like a gun.
Yes, sir.
Correct? Okay.
That's one of the number one things she asked before she even come into the house. Is it any firearms in the house? No.
And they've never found a gun in your house.
Not
And you don't own a gun.
ammunition, guns, residue, anything like that.
Okay. Now, what they would find in your house is a child, right? Now, let's talk about that. What's your son's name?
Truth.
Truth? Okay, how old is he?
He's 4.
Now, your mom talked about the fact that in his life, he really has one parent.
Exactly.
And tell the judge a little bit about how that came to be. I mean, we know that he has a mom and a dad, but in his situation, the mom and the dad went to court. Is that correct?
Yes.
And what did the court decide as far as who was going to be in charge of his well-being and his upbringing?
They decided to grant me full custody of my child, and they granted her visitations Monday through Sunday, but she has not attended one of them.
And how long ago was it that the court granted you full custody?
This is about
I want to, almost 3 years.
Okay, and so in 3 years, the mother of this child has had
Zero contact.
zero contact.
Yeah.
Although she's had, anytime she wants, she can pick up the phone, call you and say, hey, I'm ready to visit.
Yes,
And she's never taken that opportunity.
not one time.
And so you're it, right?
Full time.
Okay. And to provide for him, one of the things you do is I know that your mom said you were shot prior to this incident, correct?
Yes, sir.
And tell us a little bit of where did that happen?
It was at a hookah lounge where, they just listen to music, have a little good vibe. Me and my friend, we was walking towards the car, and out the side of my right eye, I seen a light skinned complected guy hanging out a window with a gun. One of my friends was struck in the right buttocks. I heard him screaming on the floor. So I tried to take cover, and I just felt my legs turn into noodles. So I flipped over the pole and just passed out. I had to get revived on the scene. And that was in November.
In November of 2022?
Mhm.
Okay. And obviously that slowed down your ability to work.
Yes.
And then this happened, we know, I think it was April of 23. So about a year ago, this incident occurred. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
But now you're able to work. And I think, as I understand it, you work, what's your employment?
Top level moving company. I've been there since October 25th, 2021. Yeah, 2021.
Okay. And you've had to take some breaks because of the
to the,
injuries, but
The first bullet, it broke my shoulder. So I had recently had surgery. I have 2 screws right here, and I'm not able to, raise heavy objects or anything like that.
now, I asked you when we met relatively recently, we talked about long-term plans. And you said that you were blessed and that you had a probation officer who's kind of shepherding you and guiding you into a new career. Do you remember that discussion?
Oh, yes, sir.
Tell me a little bit about that.
First of all, I want to thank my probation officer, George Wilson, because that was the first time I ever met him. I think it was in March, the 1st of March, actually.
Of this year or last?
No, of this year,
Okay.
because they kept changing my probation officer. But yeah, he told me about the CDL, and he gave me some paperwork for me to get started on my CDL and get a head start to start driving trucks, because that's one of the things I want to do is drive trucks and make deliveries, pick up loads. Some of my brothers, they do it right now. So it seemed like I take a good, role in that and start doing the CDL driving. And also, I just accomplished my driver's test course online. So I'm looking forward to getting my driver's license. And, I just want to make things right and just stay on the right track, do what I got to do for my son, because I'm all he got. And I just want to be the best father I could be to him, because I didn't have a father when I was young. All I had was my mom, so I just wish stuff was different that night. Everything happened so fast. Everything, it just happened so fast. And I didn't want no one to get hurt. I didn't want to get hurt. None of that was intentionally. That was not my plan to go out there and trip with anybody, approach anybody with any firearm or anything like that. I just wanted to question them about my vehicle. Why were y'all pulling on my vehicle? So that's really it. I just wish everything would have happened differently, and I wish it didn't happen so fast. But besides the job stuff, yeah, I'm that's my main focus, is being a CDL driver. That's one of my main focuses.
Now, once again, like we said earlier, we certainly, though, are not standing here denying our role in what, certainly coming down the stairs and seeing somebody with a gun tampering with your car caused you some concern.
Yes, sir.
But what happened after that? We're not making excuses for what turned out to be some incredibly stupid behavior, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you and I together read the email she sent.
Yes, sir.
And it's horrifying what she's going through. Would you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
We read it out loud together, and your mom and I, and we all read it. And what were your thoughts when you heard those words?
My thoughts, when I read her email, my thoughts was, this is not me. Like, the 30 seconds of that situation, like, that doesn't justify me. Like, that was not me at all. Like, that was not me. It just, like I said, it just happened so fast. And like, I'm sorry for her. Like, I wish things could have been different. I wish I would never even, had any encounter with her at all. Because that was not my intentions to hurt, anything like that. My intentions was not bad intentions at all. And I feel sorry for her, and I hope one day, she'll get over that and be able to forgive me for all the wrongdoing that happened that night.
Now, you understand, now, we're asking the judge to place you on deferred adjudication.
Mhm.
You've been on probation. You know, you've done well on probation. You've taken your classes, you've paid your monies, you've done your community service. You had an MTR for a case that was dismissed.
Mhm.
But your drug test had been negative.
Mhm.
You understand that the judge can continue to monitor you like she has. She can continue with the home visits.
Yes, sir.
She can ask you to, or ask you to pay restitution for this young woman to have counseling,
Yes, sir.
for any medical bills to reimburse her for any medical, out-of-pocket medical expenses, those types of things. You understand all of that, correct?
Yes, sir. And
Yes, sir, go ahead. I'm
I
sorry. I
want
didn't
to
mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
elaborate on the.
Sorry, I'm sorry, ma'am. Go ahead, sir.
I want to elaborate about the probation. I was actually either 2 or 3 weeks from discharging from probation. My last probation officer, Miss Sydney, she was, I don't know how it worked when they have to, I guess, send you a letter or send somebody a letter just to tell them about me discharging from probation. So that was a big step in my life. Like I was almost this close, and then just a blink of an eye, all of that just shattered. And I just was so close. I was just so close. I was close.
But, and you realize, and I guess in the grand scheme of things, we're asking the judge to kind of take a leap of faith with you. Because when you have a case like this, and you and I did this with the state, and we're not going to get into what plea bargaining we did with the state, but anytime you have a case, you can have an easy choice or a hard choice. And when you're talking numbers with the state, they throw different numbers at you. You can just say, you know what? I don't want to try for probation. I'll just just send me to prison for X number of years. And it's a number much smaller than 8, considerably smaller than 8. But you said to me, I'll never forget this. You looked at me and said, Charles, I don't want to do that to my son. I don't want to show him that I just gave up and I turned my back on him. You said, give me this chance give me the day to talk to the judge and look her in the eye and prove to her and ask her to give me this chance. And I'll risk it. I'll risk the 8 if I can have this moment to try and talk to her and show her that I'm not the person that I was for that 30 or 45 seconds, right? You remember that discussion?
Yes, sir.
Because we could have taken the easy way and you didn't want it. You wanted to stand here and risk 5 or 6 additional years in prison just for this opportunity. And deferred adjudication comes with a tremendous risk. Instead of getting 2 or 3 or 4 years in prison, now you can get 8. And if you mess it up, you can get 20.
I'm
So-
willing to bet.
I know you are. I'm standing with you. Say it again.
On me?
Yes.
Oh, I'm willing to bet on that myself.
And I'm standing here with you shoulder to shoulder. And we're here today throwing ourselves at her mercy and asking her to give you that chance and give your son the chance to have you with him. But you have to look her in the eye and tell her why she should take this chance on you. Because if you just go by what she reads, there's really no reason to do it. So this is your chance. Why should she take this chance on you? And I know you're nervous and I know you wrote some things down, of course. And you can write things down. It's okay, because I'd be scared too if I were you.
I mean, oh, we don't know. I just honestly feel like I made a change when it comes to like probation, um, what they say, thug life, like I got out of that. Ever since my brother was murdered, I got up out of that. Like, I just want to do better. Like, I just want to be the person to break the cycle with all the like, you know, court system, court fees, probation, prison time. I just want to be the one to break the cycle. That's really it. I don't know. I don't, I just want to break the cycle. So, like, you know, everybody has passed away one day. So when it is my time, I want to be able to like.
Thank you.
I just want my son to remember me as like my dog. My dad was a superhero. Cause that's what he always say. Oh, dad, you're a superhero. You're a superhero. So. I just want him to remember me as a good father, as a superhero.
All right.
That's
Any
all that's all the questions I have, Judge.
questions?
Just a few, Judge.
Okay.
Do you own a gun, sir?
No, sir.
Would it surprise you that when being interviewed as a part of this case, that the person identified as your girlfriend by your mother said that you did own a gun?
I wouldn't believe that. I don't.
And in the stipulations that were included with the plea bargain agreement, that both the victim and her boyfriend reported that you came out of the apartment building with a gun.
I never approached any one of those parties with a firearm at all.
And that whenever you came out, it was because you'd seen them messing with your car.
Fidgeting with my back door on my right hand side.
But that they told you that their car had been broken into and that they had called the police. And that you mentioned that in the PSI, that they told you that their car had been broken into and that they had called the police.
Mm-hmm.
So the police were already on their way. Is that correct?
I kind of disagree because I mean, this is why I disagree due to the fact I arrived home around 3 o'clock in the morning. The police station is, I mean, it's only like 10 minutes away. So if they did call the police, it seemed like it took them at least 2 hours to get there if they made a report about about their vehicle getting broken into, because we had time, me and the guy, we had time to roll around on the floor. What is it? Get possession of the firearm. Him to empty out his magazine. It was just so much for them to have already, spoken with the police officers. And that doesn't just, even if they did speak to the police officers or anything like that, what does y'all vehicle have to do with mine? I work hard for that.
I understand that, sir. Would it surprise you that, again, in the stipulations, they talk about that they were just trying to see if any other cars had been broken into so that they could report it to the police? Would that surprise you that that was in the stipulations?
Yes, yeah.
And that one of the witnesses, it would have been Demira Wilson. Do you know who that is?
I never met them. The reason why I met her cousins is due to the fact it was her birthday night.
And,
So-
and when we're talking about who are you talking about?
Demira, that's the first time I ever encountered Demira.
Okay. And then again, it was Sade, sorry
Mhm.
about that. Sorry for butchering the name. Sade Hall, that Myra indicated that she did see you with a gun in your hand, and that Sade said that she didn't see you with a gun in her hand. So that there was already kind of some there's different stories that are happening there. Additionally, in the stipulations, the victim reports that once the boyfriend backed off, that you grabbed her by the hair and struck her multiple times in the head with your firearm. Does that surprise you that that's in the stipulations?
With firearm.
With a firearm. Fair. She didn't have a weapon on her, did she?
I'm pretty sure she had to. It was 2 guns. It was 2 of them, 1 of me. I never approached anybody with a firearm. So the second firearm had to come from her or him.
So did you take the gun from him or her?
I took the gun from him.
And then he shot you later when he
Wait.
got away.
Uh-huh.
So then she didn't have a firearm as far as you could tell.
As far as I could tell, no. I don't know where, no.
But you did, as you were holding her by the hair, strike her
Mhm.
repeatedly while she was, in essence, defenseless. Would you agree?
Mhm.
Yes or no, sir?
Yes.
Do superheroes strike women that don't have weapons on them?
No, sir.
Now, I wanted to talk to you about UAs really quickly. I know defense, we showed your defense attorney this. It was things that were included in the MTR. Sorry, Mr. Bunk.
I know you're trying to ask, Judge, this is about something I have not been provided discovery on, so I'm gonna object to this line of questioning.
All right.
This is something that allegedly happened yesterday that I just found out about an hour ago, and I have not had a chance to look at any of this at all, so.
Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna take a break and we're gonna come back next week.
Okay.
And that'll give everybody a chance to look at what they need to look at.
Okay, Judge.
So how much time do you need to look at whatever the state wants to show?
That should be enough.
All right, so when can you all come back next week?
Any day you tell us.
I mean, let me know.
Okay.
So let's pull out calendars. Oh, you can have a seat.
Oh.
Norma? So we have Alfonso Cabanos coming in tomorrow, but there's not a docket, right?
That's right.
Correct?
Yes.
Oh, no, he'll come back tomorrow. I'll be here.
You said Monday, you said it's gonna be Monday, and I'm thinking it's Monday.
Yeah, no, we've lost some days, right?
I did.
But yeah, so he can be here tomorrow. I'll be here tomorrow.